Hi, this is Patrick with Trusty Huckster Mercantile with a haul video for the week of December 8th. I did a little bit of sourcing this week, not as much as I've done in the past because I was getting a little bit behind in being able to post it. So what I'm going to show is a collection from only about 2 or 3 different stores. All of them were picked up pretty much in between sales calls during the week, traveling locally here in the Chicago area. Starting things out was a Goodwill that was out in DeKalb. It's turning into be one of my favorite Goodwill locations. They have attractive pricing on everything, reasonable pricing on starting on mugs. That's what I've noticed in doing the Goodwills in the multiple states that I cover for my day job. In some cases, the Goodwills are asking for over $1 per mug, and some of them ask for 50 cents per mug. So it is a good just bellwether to try and figure out how different Goodwills price their material. DeKalb is always very attractive, and they always have a really nice selection of merchandise. I don't know if it's because it's a college town, Northern Illinois is based there, if things just rotate through a little bit faster. It's a little bit of an older town, older community, so maybe they're just getting more household things coming through from people downsizing. Whatever the case, I've yet to, knock wood, go to that store and not walk out with at least something in my cart, and this time I had several somethings, one of which is a Russian lacquer box. I was a Russian area studies minor in college. I have done nothing with it. Have traveled to Russia a couple times since then, but this is just something that I've always just had an interest in. So I've always liked these Russian lacquer boxes. I personally have one that I picked up in 1989 when I visited the Soviet Union during college. So that was a Pollock lacquer box. I talked about Pollock on another haul video for an item that I'd sold. This is not Pollock. This is Fedoskino, which doesn't sound Russian at all because I don't remember how to speak my Russian, but I did work really, really hard, and Google helped quite a bit as well, to try and figure out what these signatures were saying. So we'll see if we can get this to focus on there. I'm not sure it's going to be successful. I'm not sure how Jocelyn in Crazy Lamp Lady is able to do that. Because when I try and cover up my face so it doesn't focus on me, I can't see the screen anymore. So anyway, I hope you can see a little bit of it. But what this one is showing is it is saying Fedoskino, and that is another one of the regions that is known for lacquer box making in Russia. Google helped quite a bit because I was only able to piece together a couple of the letters on this, because this is one of the older pieces. You can actually see, probably will be able to see, there's a little bit of crazing, some cracking in the lacquer. This is an older piece, and one of the things I've noticed just in looking at them just personally before I ever started reselling them is the older ones are signed, they're all signed, but they're signed very small down at the very bottom in a traditional script style with the Cyrillic alphabet, not really designed to be read. It's just the design is the focus, because in the earlier days in the Soviet era, they were just marking their works, not necessarily as a collectible, but just as a mark of a sign of quality. So Pollock and Fedoskino were 2 of the areas that were known for making. There were a couple of others that I should have written down, but I didn't. So in doing the digging, when I figured out some of the letters that I could read with this tiny script, with under a loop, I did a little bit of Googling, figured out what the other regions were, and that's how I pieced together the Fedoskino. This was $2, and I had no qualms picking it up for $2. I could not read it in the store. It took me a while once I came home with a stronger loop and with much better lighting, and did a little bit of digging. It is not as valuable as Pollock. Pollock is one of the, seems to be one of the more valuable. The other 2 that when I researched it, I was not familiar with them. So maybe they also sell for for a lot of money. Pollock sells more than Fedoskino, but this itself will be able to sell even with the cracking. It basically just, in my opinion, underscores the age. So it's clearly not something that's been done recently. And again, with the text being as small as it is, the newer versions, the name of the region is actually much larger and much easier to read, because I think they started recognizing, hey, we're being known for this art form. Let's make it easier for the tourists to figure out what they're going to buy. because it's the smaller writing and because of the age cracks within it. You know it's a little bit older, so it's a Soviet era piece. This is going to be able to sell in my shop, probably get $30 plus shipping fairly easily. I'll do a little bit more digging for some examples. I couldn't find this image. It is a landscape, which is a little bit less desirable than some of the fairy tale images that they also do. So 20 to 40, but around 30, I would be super happy, anything around there. Another item that I'd picked up, and I can't 100% say why I picked it up, but I just thought they were kind of cool. It was this set of kimono coasters. I have no real indication of age. There is no barcode or anything on it. Some of the labeling is actually done in Japanese, yet the text on the back explaining what this is clearly in English. It is marked at the bottom, no big surprise, made in Japan, along with the manufacturer. I could not find anything on the manufacturer, but I was able to find the actual coasters listed and sold on WorthPoint. Actually, within the year, what the listing showed, and I have no reason to say that this isn't true, it says it's washi paper. So they're just very thick cardboard, paper in very elaborate Asian motifs. There are 6 of them, each with an individual and a different art design on them. In excellent condition. The box is a little crushed. Really wouldn't necessarily be a gift-giving box that you wouldn't. It's definitely a vintage. It's showing signs of wear, but the coasters themselves are not showing any wear at all. And the coasters that sold earlier this year, according to WorthPoint, sold for $11. So I have $1 in them. I'm not sure if these will go on Etsy. Hopefully, based on the fact that I think they are a little bit older without the UPC code, they might be pre-2000. So I think I'll be safely able to put these on Etsy, probably for around $10. Staying with the Asian motif, this is also, all of these were at the same DeKalb Goodwill. 2 different Asian dishes. One of them has a Takahashi label on it, and that is a label that I have on a couple of other pieces that I have a couple other pieces that I'm selling. I don't think I've sold any of them yet, so I don't know if that label is necessarily super collectible, but it was something that I recognized. Pink was half price. What's also interesting is both of them happen to be pink, so I don't know if they came from the same source, but they are in the process of changing their labeling. So this is one of their original pink labels, and now they're going to the barcoded pink labels. So they both happen to be half price. The Takahashi one, basically, I paid 50 cents for. I found this exact dish sold on WorthPoint through eBay earlier this year, sold for $15. So that was a nice find. This one is actually labeled a Nesco with a Japan Nesco label, slightly larger than the other one. This one I couldn't find the exact example on, but I've only got $1 into this. So if this slightly smaller one sells for 15, I think the slightly larger one would sell for, probably about the same price. And personally, I like the coloration of this one slightly better. I just like the darker coloration, but different people. I might even try and sell them together. One with the Takahashi, one with the Unesco label. We'll see. I don't have much invested in them, but I really want to start paying attention to what's going on in what's going on Etsy, because now that I do have an antique a spot in an antique shop, I have a place to put some items that can just sit and kind of sell themselves. I really want to pay attention to what I'm putting on Etsy to really make sure it's worth my while, that when I sell it, I'm always excited to have a sale, but if I'm only going to make $4 or $5 in profit, that's a lot of time for me to try and find the box, try and get to the post office, do all that. So in something like that, I might go ahead and pair them up, because then maybe I can sell them even a little bit more easily for $15 to $20. I then make a nice attractive profit, and suddenly that shipment is really worth my while to take. Another item that came from that Goodwill, they were just sitting out all by themselves and not where they should have been. So clearly someone had picked these up and then they put them down, and I'm not sure why. I really was concerned, somebody must have found some damage or something on them. So I really looked them over. There is a tiny amount of wear in some of the gold right on the edges, which you might be able to see there. Not horrible, but there is a little bit of wear. So, but they're in super good condition. These were marked. I did violate the rules and peeled back the label while I was there. But I'm sorry, Goodwill, why are you putting the label over what we all want to see? Because even if I was buying these for myself and not for resale, I'd still want to know who made it. Anyway, this is marked Fraunfelter, Fraunfeltr, name I did not know, and Fraunfelter China. And then there is a little emblem in the middle, which once I deciphered it, I realized it said Ohio. So it is actually American pottery. So did a little bit of digging, looked online while I was there through eBay and WorthPoint. And turns out these are pretty popular and have sold multiple times within 2019. Just in 2019, they sold as a set for $40. There was another listing of the sugar bowl by itself in 2019 that sold for $24. And then there was also a pair that sold in 2018 for $25. So they were $1 each. So for $2, I can pretty easily turn these around $25 to $30, if not more, plus shipping. And there are currently none of these listed on Etsy. So there's no competition to get these. And what I've discovered, with just a little bit of sampling that I've had to date, if you have some unique pieces and when you do the search for them and you're seeing active sales, but you then don't see a lot of active listings, that's because they are selling. And in some cases, people have their the little notifications set up to be able to find the pieces. So hopefully those can go up and sell relatively quickly. And from what I can tell, this was an open sugar. There did not appear to be a lid to it. And looking at the inside, this gilding is 100% clean all the way around, and there's no rim or anything. So I do believe this is designed to be open, even though it is American pottery. Somebody had told me that American sugar bowls tended to have covers and European sugar bowls tended to be open. Or maybe it was the other way around. No, I want to say they said the American ones were the tended to be covered. So most people are looking for covers and assume if it doesn't have a lid that, oh, well, it's not a complete set. So you do really have to pay attention, look at how it's designed, and you can tell this one was not designed to have a lid, nor have any of the samples or examples that have sold historically have they been sold with lids. A couple of smaller pieces that this is jumping to a different store. This piece I picked up just because I like the looks of it. It was a small dish. I'm not 100% sure what it's for. You can see it's got the little yin-yang, design, little divided section in there. It's marked Heath, 1999, Sausalito, California. It just, to me, based on its weight, its finish, the way it was glazed, it spoke quality to me. I don't know. I'd never heard of the name Heath. It is California pottery, and I do like California pottery. And more importantly, it was 30 cents. So, hey, picking that up. In doing the digging of this exact dish has sold on Etsy off and on over the last couple of years from anywhere from $15 to $40 in this exact colorway. Some other colors have sold for a higher end as well. So I think certain colors are more rare than others. But again, 30 cents. And I'm going to very easily be able to turn this around for $15 to $20, if not more. At this point, there are no examples available on sale for Etsy. But some of the history, they're not super recent sales, most of them for 2018 and 2017. But I do think that this will sell. And again, my philosophy, I'm not going to hold on to it until I get, quote unquote, what it's worth. I want to be able to turn it. And if I can make good money off of it and get it into another home, and either they get a good deal or they want to buy it and try and resell it because it's technically this color is worth $60 now, fine, go sell it for $60. But I'm getting it off my shelf and I'll be able to sell it and use that money and buy something else. I do tend to hang out in sections in different places where they have those little plates. That's where I found that one. And this was another one that I found that unfortunately after I brought it home, I discovered there was damage to it. But it is a marble base with mother and pearl inlay of the Taj Mahal. Trust me, I did not know that was the Taj Mahal when I bought it. I thought it was a Turkish mosque, so what do I know? But did a little bit of Googling, and this actually sells fairly regularly online. I only have $1 in it. It was $2 and it was half price. I only have $1 into it. But if you look at it, you can see there's this little, at first I thought it was maybe an elephant design, but I just think it's a scallop design. There's one place where the scallop popped out. I did not see that when I picked it up, and I'm always looking for damage. So it's not obvious at all, but of course I will mark that there is damage to it. I should be able to probably get about $10 for this. I'd be able to get a little bit more if it were in perfect condition, but based on what they're selling for, $10 probably plus shipping, although it weighs almost nothing. Probably list it for $12 to $14 with free shipping included, and hopefully it'll turn around even with that little bit of damage, because it's just a nice little cabinet piece. Very flat. It's not really a dish or anything. It's purely decorative. Another purely decorative piece that I found while I was there, also on the half price colorway, was, I'm going to assume that is Goethe, because it is a commemorative plaque from the Goethe Institute. So the Goethe Institute, they're all over the country. There is one in Chicago, which I'm in the suburbs outside Chicago. My daughter studies German. That's why she's in Germany right now. This was 45 cents. It needs to get cleaned up a little bit. He's kind of been smudged a bit, but hopefully it's this white bisque porcelain that it should be able to clean up pretty easily. I don't think he's going to sell for much. I could not find any examples of him, so I might put him online for the $10-15 range, including shipping, just to see if he sells. And if he doesn't, probably just I wouldn't renew it through Etsy and pop it into my antique store, the little showcase that I've got, for $5 or $10, easily enough, because some people will recognize the Goethe Institute, again, being it's an international organization. But since there's one in Chicago, I might be able to sell it somewhat locally. Another piece that I picked up in a different antique store, and to be perfectly honest, when I was pulling all this stuff together, I don't remember where I got this. Literally do not remember where I got this. It had a different type of pricing. Price tags, it's just like a little square with the 50 cents in it. No memory whatsoever where I was when I got this. But it wasn't a Goodwill and it wasn't a Salvation Army. So whatever it was 50 cents. Doing a little bit of digging. It's a Hazel Atlas bowl, milk glass bowl. It is not marked Hazel Atlas, but I've heard that this design with the the lines and stuff through it is called spaghetti or splatter. So I just did some Google searches based on that. And from what I could tell, this is considered the butterscotch spaghetti or the butterscotch splatter of this cereal bowl. They do sell in sets, where this is a set of 6 and maybe a larger bowl, so you can make this as a salad bowl with a larger serving bowl. When they sell as sets, they were selling fairly decent price points, but this by itself is probably only getting about $5. So this will definitely go into the showcase at the antique mall, because it's not that would be one of those cases. Even though I've only got 50 cents into it, if I'm only going to sell it for $5 plus shipping, it's not worth it for me to find a box and do all the things I'd have to do to get it shipped out for such a small profit margin. This is going back to a Goodwill. This is a plate. Again, I've got a penchant for collector's plates, so I just always attracted to them. This one I just thought was a really pretty coloration, and then the idea that it's an old-fashioned automobile just attracted that as well. It is a Grindley and Company plate, a name I was not familiar with. Satin white is also on there, and also the stamp of who's distributing it. Did a little bit of digging on this one. Didn't find a lot of examples on it. In fact, I only found one example of this actual series. It wasn't for this plate, it was a different plate. But it was back in 2011, and it was in the UK. And at that point, it only sold for $16. So it's not going to be a huge money maker. I can't imagine they've gone up a lot since 2011, but probably can get $10 to $15 out of this plus shipping. It's in really nice condition. It is kind of a neat image, and if you've got the right, this sage green color pattern in your home, it'd look great on your shelves. Another piece that I picked up. This is from another Goodwill. This, I will admit, not going to say it's a mistake, but I will admit when I purchased it, I purchased it for the wrong reason. I pulled the price tag off. Maybe this was karma getting back at me. I pulled the price tag off to be able to figure out what that label was saying. And when you look at, for those of you who are into dishware and china and things like that, some of the date stamps will actually have codes in them, and you'll see the year. When I pulled back that sticker, it says E553, but I confused it with the Homer Laughlin. I just saw E53, so I was thinking it was made in the fifth month E. So it'd be made in May of 1953. It also says 553, so now that I just said that out loud, so maybe it is still saying 553, but it's Rigo porcelain, Rigo China, which I wasn't familiar with, did a little bit of digging on it. I only found one example of this pattern that has sold historically on eBay at all, and it was sold in a set of 5 several years ago in 2011, and it was on average $5. And when I look at other Rigo, they're known for this it's pretty heavy, so it's kind of a restaurant wear. When you look at other Rigo restaurant wear dinner plates, they're all selling in the $5 to $10 range. So again, kind of bought this for the wrong reason. It's a single dinner plate, so people are only going to want to pick this up for a replacement. Probably not worth my time putting it onto Etsy. Probably just go nice into the showcase. And what I'm also finding about the showcase, what I like about patterns like this for my showcase, is the pattern is all on the outside, so I can put it flat and then put something in the middle, and you'll still be able to see the pattern. Where some of the plates and pieces that I have, the design is actually in the middle, so I have to take up a lot of space or find a rack to be able to show it, and so this is kind of serves double duty. So, like I said, not a mistake, but not my proudest moment. This one is probably my proudest moment for absolutely no good reason whatsoever. It was something that I picked up. It was 50 cents. It was Paden City pottery, which I was familiar with. I don't know if I necessarily had anything, but definitely had come across in my research. I wanted to say that it's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, pottery in America. I should have looked that up before, but I want to say that's why I knew it. And the piece is this little cake plate. It's got the little handles on the side, and this little Buddha pattern, put into it. It was filthy. Absolutely filthy, like somebody been changing their oil or something with it. And I think because what was coated on there in some cases had streaked, it did actually look like it was cracked. But I felt it and realized that whatever I was sealing did not seem to go into the china. So I went ahead and picked it up for 50 cents, cleaned it up. It actually cleaned up very easily, and I did a little bit of digging on it, and basically just did Buddha and then Paden City. And found some examples of this, and one of these sold earlier this year for $15. Again, I got 50 cents into it. So I got that for a very exact comp. And then I did this for a couple of the other pieces. I should have mentioned it, but I did this checked on Etsy just to say, okay, well, how common is this? Because I'm starting to run into that problem where I find a piece like, oh yeah, this sells for really good money, I should pick this up. And then I go to list it and I find there's 25 other examples. And, unless you then really price it competitively, it's unlikely you're going to sell it quickly because they have 25 other places to pick it from. So this one only has one other listing. It happens to be for a pair of them, and the pair they're listing for at $70. So sorry, dude, that's selling 2 for $70. I will not be asking for that much because the selling price of this is only $15. So I'll probably put $15 to $20 on there, including shipping, maybe $25 including shipping. Because it's a little bit of an odd size. I'm going to have to it'll be in an oversized box just to be able to accommodate those little handles. But still way less than what the other one that's out there listing. So if somebody is looking for it, they'll find mine at a more competitive and attractive price. I had the pieces earlier that were marked Takahashi. I found 2 more pieces of Takahashi. Now these to me, I'm sure they're a specific type of fruit, but I don't know what it is. Both of them have the little, piece sticking out of the end of it like a pomegranate, but I don't think they're pomegranates. And these kind of look like blueberries, but again, they're weird looking blueberries. So I'm not sure what, the Japanese design for the Western market, what they were trying to do, because that ribbon screams, well, to me it screams 80s, but they are Takahashi, San Francisco, with the label made in Japan, so they're earlier than that. Regardless, Same thing, pink was half price. So these were originally $2 each, picked them up for $1 a piece. Most of the Takahashi plates are selling around the $10 range. So again, I would definitely sell these as a pair. I've only got $2 into them. If I can sell them as a pair for 15 to 20 bucks plus shipping, I would find that, again, very successful. Sometimes there's items that you pick up that you just pick up because you like them and not necessarily because they're going to make a lot of money. This is a little set that I picked up that, better judgment, I shouldn't have. It's obviously Christmas. It's the holly pattern, but it is Pickard China. And I will just say, for whatever reason, every time I find a piece of china that I really, really like, well, I won't say every time, but a lot of times when I find a piece of china that I really, really like, particularly if it's this type of off-white porcelain, it's often Pickard. I like the way they design it. I like their glaze. Jocelyn just did a video earlier, just recently, that talked about that Pickard sometimes was actually painting blanks from other companies. I wasn't aware of that. I thought Pickard manufactured their own, so I'm not necessarily clear on that. But this was a set, the salt and pepper and this little dish, I don't know what it is, but this little dish as a set was sold for $3. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them together. They do all match, but I'm not sure I'm going to keep them together or sell them separately because pick them up, $3. It's too close to Christmas. I may not be able to sell them before Christmas. I haven't even gotten these listed yet, but I like it. I like Pickard. I want to have it. I want to handle things that I like handling. And then I was very pleased when I did a little bit of digging and discovered that the salt and pepper shakers themselves sell fairly regularly. Well, it's not regularly, but there are a lot of examples of these over the last few years. Nothing super, super recent, but the last sale that was listed was for a shaker by itself, and it sold for $22 by itself. And then there was another sale 2 years earlier for the pair that sold for 20 bucks. So if you just do kind of the averaging and say, okay, this was $1.50 and these were $1.50, if I can sell these for somewhere in the $20 range, $20 to $25 range, I'm set regardless of how I sell this. Because I don't want to handle a lot of shipping, I don't think the dish itself will sell for a lot of money. I probably will keep them together and maybe sell it as a set of 30, maybe 35, including shipping, so that I can still get an attractive price and then only deal with one shipment. And I was really, really happy because I didn't even look it up when I was at the store. I just saw Pickard. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pick it up because I like it. And then I found out I liked it to the right tune of being able to sell for a decent amount of money. Another item that I had tried desperately to do some research on, it's not labeled. It's not something I can really find a lot of examples to. It's also not something I normally would pick up because it's not in perfect condition. If you look, there is a leaf that has been snapped right where the reticulation is on the edge. It looks like something like popped through there and snapped off the very edge of the leaf. But in general, it's in really good condition. What I liked about this is it's a dark color. I've got my dark brown, I've got my woody, I've got the woodlands, Christmas decorations are up now. I like this darker brown. Usually when you've got these flowers, everything's a very light color. So I just like the detail that got put into this, but it's not marked at all. There's just impressed and then a written 6002, what it looks like. Now to me, that looks like a European numbering, particularly the way the 2 is written. So I am thinking that this is European because it's darker. I'm going to be really general and just think it's German. Not saying that Germans are dark in their colors, but hello, Brothers Grimm. It was $1. This is also something, because there's no real keywords that I can put on here and there is the tiniest bit of damage. I'll probably put this in my store in the showcase that I've got at East State Antiques Mall in Rockford, because I can sell him, I would think, fairly easily for $5, $6, $7. I only got $1 into him. It'll be a decent profit and it'll look nice in the showcase to maybe get people to come in and say, oh, okay, what else is available for sale in this area? This was probably a mistake, but I had another sorority piece that I liked, and when I was doing some searches on it, I discovered that there's actually a pretty decent market for fraternity and sorority items that are dated. This is for the Pink Rose Formal of 1951. This, from what I can tell, I believe is Alpha Kappa Psi. I was struggling with the last section of the Greek because it's actually written in the Greek alphabet, and of course it doesn't want to focus, so hopefully you can see that. I haven't got this listed yet. It was only 59 cents at Goodwill. It's a toothpick holder, obviously, but I thought it was kind of cool that you could have that as either fraternity or sorority, and with the date on there, it would be a nice little kitschy piece that someone who is a member of that fraternity/sorority, because I haven't looked it up yet, would be interested in just having a little cabinet piece that promotes their organization. Another little piece that I picked up, again at Goodwill, this was pink, regular $2 on sale for $1. It's a Brandywine Enesco lidded, oops, and it survived. It's an Enesco lidded box, dated 1979. So clearly in the vintage category. What's also nice is the showcase that I'm in, the mall requires everything to be 1979 or earlier. Guess where this is headed? Being dated 1979, it qualifies to be in the mall. These do not sell frequently, let's just put it that way. I only found one other Brandywine box listed, and it sold, I want to say it was 2011. And it sold, or no, I'm sorry, 2006 was the only other box that I found. And back in 2006, it sold for $6.50. There was a mug that was the Brandywine Enesco label. It sold for $16 in 2018, but I don't think there's just a huge market for this. I could be wrong, and if anyone's interested, just message me and you can have it. But I'll probably just put it into the booth in like the $6 to $8 range because it's just a cute little gift piece, and clearly amazingly sturdy because I dropped that puppy and it did not crack. Another piece, which also hopefully would be indestructible. This, again, my interest in all things German. This is a piece of wood carving, which in and of itself, I probably wouldn't have had any interest into it at all till I looked at the back and saw that it was marked Oberammergau in 1965. I have been to Oberammergau. It is in southern Germany. It is primarily known every 10 years. They do the Passion Play, and the next Passion Play is coming up in 2020. It'll be next year. They would do it. The entire town is involved. It runs for almost an entire year, and then they carve wood for the next 9 years. So this was dated 1965. So it is a truly vintage piece. I have a couple of pieces of wood carving that I picked up when I was in Oberammergau several years ago. This is really nice quality, and the fact that it's a wall plaque with a simple, hole to be able to hang it, I think this will do well. Oberammergau is fairly well represented online for online sales, pretty much selling anywhere from reasonably $20 to $60. The vintage pieces are going for a little bit more. The more elaborate ones are going for a little bit more. Some of them are going to be several hundreds of dollars. This one is not signed per se, other than the fact that it's a souvenir piece from Oberammergau. I would think this one's very easily going to sell in the $30 range just because it's got kind of a unique shape to it, and the subject matter being Madonna and Child. The only other Madonna and Child currently listed on Etsy from Oberammergau is selling for well over $100, or listed for well over $100. Again, that seems a little bit pricey based on what some of the other pieces have been selling for. So I think I can very easily get, $25-30 in her, and I only have $3 invested. So I was pretty excited with that. I might have mentioned previously, in my day job, I sell to libraries. This is something I've only recently started doing, picking up books. For whatever reason, it never crossed my mind that I wanted to get into selling books. And it's not something I want to focus on because, and this is actually going to become a good example of it, I sell them, but I sell new books to libraries to put on their shelves. I am not selling them as first editions. They probably are first editions because they just got published, but not in a collectibles market. This item is the Lakeside Press, very clearly marked and very nice cover. This one happens to be the Texas Rangers. It is the Christmas book from 1992. Evidently, that's kind of what they do. They put out a Christmas book every year. It's in excellent condition. I paid $1 for it. Did a little bit of Google searching in the library and looked, oh yeah, these sell fairly regularly, you know, 10, 20 bucks, how great. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention because they sell, this is a series. They do a different Christmas book every year. As I think somewhere in here it even said like which version this one is. But as a result, what I was looking at when I first found them, they were selling in sets of 5 or 10, and those were selling for 10 to 20 bucks. The last time I found this book by itself was sold in 2018 as an individual book for $10. So I had seen that as well, but I thought there was more than that one listing. So that was probably just a case the right buyer found the right copy. I doubt I'm going to be able to get 10 bucks for this, but it's too new to go in my showcase at the Antique Mall. So I'll probably go ahead and put it online, sell it for maybe $10, including shipping. So I would send it media mail, so it won't cost that much money, and just be done with it. You know, it's something that I'm learning as I go. I'm not going to say it's a mistake, but I need to pay a little bit more attention. And the last one was something that was fun as a purchase, but again, this late in the season, I'm probably going to end up being stuck with this for quite some time. But as a kid of the 70s, I did latch hook rugs all the time. And this is a fully sealed Christmas Noel wall hanging latch hook rug from Vogart Crafts. It was originally sold through Kmart and evidently did not sell at Kmart because it got marked down several times, but ended up selling at the Goodwill for $2.99. I did go ahead and pick it up because, again, doing just a really quick search, it appeared that they sell fairly regularly. Sealed latch hook rugs sell fairly regularly, the $20 to $30 easily. This being a Christmas wall hanging maybe makes it a little bit more of a specialty time of year, but it's also a time of year where people are doing specialty decorating. So the Christmas ones do sell fairly well. It's not, I probably won't even bother listing it right away because this is not going to sell in the next week, because even if you bought it, you wouldn't be able to finish it. But it is a really nice wall hanging piece, completely sealed. All the pieces are in there, very clearly marked. And was glad to be able to put that. And when I do sell it, probably be able to sell it, list it for 25 to 30 bucks and maybe even 25 plus shipping, getting around 30 total, that I think it'll sell because others sell for even more than that. And this is just a nice looking piece that I think will still be popular for just the general, the kitschy factor of having latch hook. So that is everything that I had picked up. It took a little bit longer than I anticipated. Again, I rambled a little bit, practically broke one of my pieces, but hey, that was just to entertain you. So hopefully you have been entertained. Again, this is Patrick, the Trusty Huckster Mercantile. You can find me on Etsy, Instagram, and Facebook. That can all be found at TH Mercantile, Trusty Huckster Mercantile. And obviously you've already found me on YouTube. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and share it with your friends. I would love to be able to build up my presence in YouTube. And if you've got any comments, suggestions for making these videos better, or what you'd like to see, please let me know. And hopefully I'll be back to you next week with another haul video. Thanks again, and talk to you again soon. Bye.